Welcome to Business Unmuted, sponsored by Virtue Motors, one of the UK's largest motor retail dealers, and check out its website on virtuemotors.com. I'm Graham Robb and I've owned Recognition PR for nearly 35 years, and we've got businesses in all sectors of the economy, and that gives us, I suppose, the real chance to see what's happening in the economy, with them owning around £6 billion worth of assets and 30,000 jobs. Now, today, down the line, we've got Sharon Appleby, who's the Chief Executive of the Business Improvement District in Sunderland. And she is looking at an investment in the city now of around 3 million into the city centre. Also down the line, we've got Nikki Chance-Thompson, CEO of the Peace Hall Trust. She's also Deputy Chair of the Mayor of West Yorkshire's Culture Committee. And in the studio, we've got Sim Hall, Managing Director and owner of Populus Plus, Populus Select, which specialises in matching professionals to organisations in STEM businesses, technology, engineering, manufacturing sectors around the world. Welcome, Sim, to the studio.
Good evening, Graham.
But I hope you don't mind if I talk to our guests down the line first. Sharon, first, I was very interested to see that last week's retail figures were really quite positive. There was an increase of 1.2% in the UK on retail sales volumes. Non-food sales volumes rose by 2.4% over the month. And even in food stores, they were a little bit up, food stores. So what's happening in Sunderland? What's the feel of your tenants and traders?
Things are actually really positive. I think people are really surprised, but actually the majority of businesses we talk to across all sectors are really positive, but particularly around the Bridges Shopping Centre, their footfall's up just last month was up another 6%, and a lot of traders are doing very well. We aren't back to 2020 levels, but actually nowhere really is either. But people are spending a lot more money when they come in, so they're coming in less often but spending more when they're there. So things are really encouraging, and we are seeing them move back to the office more. So there are more office workers coming in on a regular basis, which actually really helps with all of that incidental spend, lunches, coffees, all of that kind of thing, and actually just makes the city feel much more vibrant. So things are positive, which I think sometimes people are really surprised about.
So there you are on the northeast coast, and Nikki Chance-Thompson is a little bit further inland in Halifax. The wonderful Peace Hall. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. People who watch that programme, Gentleman Jack, might have seen it in there, and it's a monument to elegance in the centre of West Yorkshire. What do you think about retail based on what Sunderland and Sharon's experiences are?
Yes, I mean, we're seeing some real peaks and troughs here. At the beginning of the year, it was very, very quiet. I think people were nervous about bills and energy costs and what might happen. But we've actually seen retail pick up in the last couple of months, particularly when we had some markets here at the Peace Hall a week or so ago, where we had 22,000 people in on a Saturday alone to shop in the markets and shop in the shops within the Peace Hall. So I'm actually seeing people being quite confident and spending money. Not as bad as I think perhaps we feared. And hospitality too here has been buoyant as well. I think people are maybe thinking, well, perhaps we won't have the Caribbean holiday this year, but we are going to go out and enjoy ourselves. We are going to go to concerts. We are going to shop and eat out. So I share Sharon's sentiment. It's perhaps more positive than is being reported.
Okay, well, that's great news from both of you. But you're also, it hasn't come about by accident. Both the bid in Sunderland and the Peace Hall in Halifax do work very hard at promoting the city centre in Sunderland and what is in the centre of a large town in Halifax. So tell us, Sharon, what the initiatives that the bid has really put together to make a difference in Sunderland.
Well, actually, just referencing back to what Nikki said there, we had restaurant week in the last few weeks, and actually that was our best restaurant week ever. So we've had 11 restaurant weeks now, and at the last count there were 16,000 diners and £500,000 worth of economic impact from that week. We do 2 of those a year. anything in Sunderland around sport, music, and food do really well. So we have regular food markets with several thousand people attending those. We have clearly we've got the big concerts this year. So we've got Beyonce and Pink coming. So we do a lot of wraparound around that, making the city very welcoming when people are coming in. We have a large food festival in June. We have lots of activity through the summer and the Easter holidays, which brings people in, free activity, which brings people in. But it's not just about what the bid does. There are so much more going on. We work with our partners a lot. So things like the Lion King are here at the moment. So there'll be 120,000 people in 6 weeks come to see the Lion King. Clearly that benefits the businesses massively. People come, they eat, they drink, they shop while they're in the city. And then things like the concerts are huge. But we've also got the new fire station, the auditorium there, that has shows on nearly every night. So 600 to 800 people come into those every day. They make huge difference. That makes a huge difference to things. So not just about what we do sort of smaller events that are bringing tens of thousands of people rather than huge events like the concerts. But we work really closely with all of our partners to make sure that people have a great experience when they're here.
And you've also had the announcement of the new Fulwell Film Studio, just tell us a little bit about that. The people in other parts of the north maybe don't appreciate what you've got coming.
That's just amazing, actually. So that's going to be the Crown Studios on the riverside. So there's actually two. The one that you're talking about there, Graham, is the most recent announcement, which is a £400 million investment into by Fulwell 73 and another investment company. Fulwell 73 do things like the Late Late Show. They work with James Corden. They do carpool karaoke. So lots of things that people would know. And they have a presence in Sunderland already. They have a real connection. The people who run Fulwell 73 have a massive connection to Sunderland already and are working really closely with the university. But it's a huge film studio, 20 stages, but everything that goes along with that. So we were just talking today at our board. We're going to need catering people, hairdressers, makeup artists, joiners, mechanics, all sorts of people. Now that's 8,000 jobs by 2028. It starts on site this year and finishes in 2028 when the final thing will be open. That is just true transformation for the city. We're brilliant at automotive. We've got the Envision factory, all of that kind of thing. But this is new. This is really up and coming and absolutely sets Sunderland apart. But is also something where people have really, are so confident that they're investing that kind of money into a facility like this in the region.
Well, that marvellous sales pitch there for Sunderland, and I can testify to it. I've been to Sunderland many, many times. Let's go back down the motorways towards Halifax. And Nikki Chance-Thompson, we heard Sharon there talking about all the activities that are going on in Sunderland. Now, your location is it's terribly impressive. Just if anyone hasn't ever seen it, it dates back to 1779, and it's done like an Italian palazzo, and it's designed in that way, and has shops all around the outside perimeter. But in the middle, you also put events on and things that attract the public in. So is that making a difference to the sustainability and long-term future of the way the retail in Halifax works?
Absolutely, Graham. I mean, we host very large music events here in Halifax with our partners Live Nation. So this year we have Sting, we have Madness, we have the Colts. I mean, we've got some great bands coming. And what happens actually is that it not only uplifts retail, because people are coming to visit Halifax to experience something at the Peace Hall. We're finding that that's a really unique reason why people are coming to our concerts, which always sell out. And Live Nation have actually said recently that we're one of their best venues because anything they put on sale here, people buy tickets to, which is quite interesting. So there's an experiential feeling that people want when they're watching music. But what we also do, as well as lift up retails, we also lift up hospitality, hotels, transport. All of the town, all of the borough comes alive when the concerts are on. And the local MP, Holly Lynch, said very recently that the Peace Hall has helped the local people get their swagger back. People are very proud to live in Halifax. It's more famous now than just having a very famous bank. We're now being put on the map for culture, for music. Sally Wainwright's Happy Valley and Gentleman Jack that you referred to, Graham, all of these things combined have really created a tipping point for the borough and the region. House prices are increasing. Where I live, houses are on the market for 2 minutes. The minute that a house goes up, somebody's bought it. It's really quite incredible. And you feel almost like you're in a bubble somewhat.
Yeah, the house prices is one thing, but house prices are also reflected in the value of business premises. And if the value of business premises go up, they attract investment. If you get a yield from a rental property, you'll get an injection of investment into a city. So although the house price bubble is sometimes referred to by commentators as a bad thing, when you look at the business thing that follows, that's not bad at all, is it?
No, I mean, we actually have businesses here that are staying here because of the Peace Hall. For example, Lloyds Banking Group are staying within Halifax now. Coveya Insurance are growing within the area, because what's happening with remote working is that people can live pretty much anywhere they want to live. So many people are choosing to move into towns as opposed to living in cities. So they have that ability to work in a hybrid way or a remote way. And Halifax has really seen the benefit from that, because you get to live in a beautiful area with great cultural attractions, and have a great job. So it's kind of what's not to like. It's really had, that's one of the positives of COVID, actually. I have to say that the way that people now live and work has changed for the better, in my view.
I've got to say, having these two women on, it's fantastic to see the energy that's coming out of promoting these two locations. But I wanted to just ask you, Nikki, about working with your mayor. Now, where I'm broadcasting this from in Tees Valley, we've got a mayor. You've now got a mayor and devolution. There's a mayor and devolution in Manchester, and about to be one in Sunderland, where Sharon is. So you've got yourself into this position where you're supporting your mayor's culture committee. What's that about, and is there a difference to you and West Yorkshire as a result of this devolution deal that you've got?
I think the difference is that Tracy, who is the first female Metro Mayor that's been elected, sees that culture can play a very important part in regeneration. And we have certainly seen that. The first thing that people did after the lockdown, as an example, we were dying to get out and experience things, because at one point we were told you may never be able to do this again. Events were referred to as zombie industries and things. I always thought that's not going to happen with the human race. We won't put up with that. We'll get out somehow. We'll find a way out somehow. But what I've seen devolution do is help people see that they can actually become the masters of their own destiny when it comes to place. For a long time, place has been dictated to communities, it's been dictated to businesses. And I think what's happening now under devolution is it actually gives communities and businesses a chance to really scope what they want to become. And just hearing what Sharon's talking about with Sunderland, which is amazing, that transformation, that gives people pride, it gives them confidence. And as you said, Graham, it attracts investment. People want to be part of success. So when you start to create place that's successful, that people are proud of, great things follow, whether it's industry, business, great people moving into the area, changing the area. What I've seen devolution do, we're in the early parts of it, granted, but just those small stepping stones, I've seen people really embrace, wanting to take, take part really in creating where they live and where they work and what that looks like. And we are an area of inventors, so we've got some great people here who are very inventive.
That's right, Nikki. Let's go back to Sharon for final word on this segment. Sharon, you don't yet have a Metro Mayor or devolved, but there is one coming, and there will be a Mayor elected next year in the North East, which includes Sunderland. Now, I was privileged to go to a discussion dinner last night, which included the leader of Durham County Council, and she was briefing people on the devolution deal for the North East. And she explained that the North East has already got a shadow devolution board, and that there is a dedicated council leader, it happens to be her, on the issue of culture. Do you think that maybe that Sunderland and other areas of the North East will be able to follow in Nikki's steps and use culture as a way of levering up investment and visitor attractions like this?
I think it already is, to be honest, Graham. We went for City of Culture a few years ago and lost out to Coventry. But actually, as a result of that, Sunderland Culture was set up. So we've been really pushing with culture for a while. What we haven't had are the amazing buildings and venues to go with it in the quantity that we've got now or that we've got coming. We're also building a culture house right in the city centre. So absolutely, culture is huge for regeneration of place, and we're really looking forward to having that as part of the devolution deal. But I think we're on our journey with culture as well, and we recognise how important it is to bring audiences, to bring families to, and to just improve people's aspirations and their experiences.
Well, look, Nikki, Sharon, thank you for talking to us. I've got to say that it's now on my to-do list for a weekend out. One weekend in Sunderland, another weekend in Halifax. I'm sure it would be great. Do wait there while I finish my next interview. But what do you think about that, Sim? You're promoting the north of England to your people who you're trying to recruit for big firms. Does the work of people like Sharon and Nikki make a difference?
It's huge. It really does make a massive difference, and I, like you, I'm completely sold on what we've just heard there. It was a fantastic job there, Sharon and Nikki. What a vibrant place it is to live and work in the north, and this is so important to attract this talent that we do need, that we are missing in the northeast and the north, to come in and deliver these big projects that are being won and are being placed in the region.
Now, Sim, you run Populous Select, and it goes out and recruits senior managers, engineers, specialists in STEM, and it wants to bring them to companies around the world. Mm-hmm. What about the north of England? What kind of businesses are now commonplace in your recruitment zone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you mentioned, we do work globally, and we work nationally as well. But we do have, and we are proud Teessiders, and we do have a good client base in the northeast, particularly the Tees Valley. We've got, I guess, a bit of a split, which is intentional. We've got the large-scale blue chip companies that we're working with, but I'm also proud to say we're pretty good at, and we've dedicated a lot of time to working with those scale-up technology businesses, which is wonderful to see those continue to flourish and bring their technologies to Teesside and the Tees Valley to commercialise on the technologies that they've spirited out of universities.
We hear a lot about technology, a lot about innovation, the drive for digitisation. Mm-hmm. Does that mean the skills of older workers are more difficult to place? I couldn't code very easily, for example.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. We've always been in the Tees Valley, especially, very good at reinventing ourselves, and we've always had the support to be able to do that. Again, we work across the full STEM area: the science, technology, engineering, manufacturing. We work with heavy engineering, traditional heavy engineering that we know in the northeast very well. But we're also working with the new technologies, the life sciences, the scientific aspects. So there's jobs there for everybody. What we've seen of late, particularly since the pandemic, is a huge amount of inactivity where we're losing those 50 plus early retirees who have gone into early retirement and inactivity, so they're not looking for jobs or they're not working. And that's caused a huge challenge. So those older workers, as you've referred to, are hugely valued. We've lost a huge amount of experience and a huge amount of talent and skills.
Training them is a big issue, isn't it? As I say, if I needed to go, if I was in that position and I wanted to go back to work, or I was needed back at work by the economy, I wouldn't be able to code. I might be a little bit behind on some of the more modern techniques. Yeah. I've noticed in the government, the budget, the government tried to sort this. They talked about introducing something called returnerships.
Returnerships, yeah.
It's like an apprenticeship for older people. Yeah. What do you think of that?
I think it's incredible. I do think there's a job there, there's support there from the government, as we've seen with apprenticeships as they're working anywhere. But there is something that we as employers, you and I are both employers, but also as the candidates, the people that need to do that and get into and understand how these non-linear apprenticeships can improve and challenge and change what their focus is in the workplace. It's gone are the days of the traditional GCSE A-level degree and then your professional exams. That's still evident, but you can also now retrain at, although you may be at a much higher level, a master's level, you can retrain at lower BTEC levels to look at, working in logistics, working in HR, working in science. And that's available right the way through the career path.
Well, Sim, thank you for joining us. Sharon, good to have you on for the first time. Do come back again. Nikki, great to see you again, and lovely to hear about what's happening in Halifax and Sunderland. That's it for Business Unmuted this week. We're going to take a short break for Easter. We'll be back after Easter and we'll be going towards our 100th episode. And when we have our 100th episode, we'll be renaming the podcast away from Business Unmuted, which was there for the pandemic, and we're going to be renaming it Northern Business Podcast. Says what it is. See you soon.